Walking into an airport in summer 2026 may feel less like starting a vacation and more like taking a test you didn't know you signed up for. Your bag can cost you extra at the gate. Your ID can slow you down at TSA. Your seat assignment can disappear because another airline is actually flying the plane. And the worst part? Most travelers won't realize the problem until they're already standing in line. So before you fly this summer, here are 5 airport rules that can hit your wallet, your schedule, and your sanity. Starting with the carry-on mistake that gets people caught before they even board. Remember the good old days when you could pack your carry-on until the seams were screaming, and as long as you looked casual, the gate agent would let you slide? Well, those days are officially dead. Airlines are getting stricter about carry-on size, and more airports are using smarter screening and measurement technology throughout the travel process. Think of these as super smart speed cameras, but for your bags. And machines do not care about your travel history. If the scanner decides your bag is too tall, too wide, or too fat because that front pocket is stuffed like a Thanksgiving turkey, you could be forced to gate check it. And on some airlines, waiting until the gate can turn that mistake into a painful fee, sometimes around $75 to $100. The old human wiggle room starts disappearing. A gate agent might have ignored a soft backpack that could clearly squish under the seat. So here's how you beat the robot eyes. Stop trusting hard-shell carry-ons that have zero flexibility. Instead, use a soft underseat bag, a flexible backpack, or a fabric duffel clearly sized as underseat luggage. You want something that can compress, flatten, and slide under the seat without looking like it's fighting for its life. But don't use soft as an excuse to overpack. Pack it so it fits before you get to the airport. If you have to kneel on the bag at home to zip it shut, that bag is already writing its own complaint letter. Before you leave home, pack it, zip it, and measure it fully loaded. If your bag looks swollen, fix it at home, because at the gate, your negotiating partner might be a camera. And even if your bag passes the size test, there's another place it can get flagged: inside the X-ray machine. The new TSA scanner does not just look inside your bag, it investigates it. At more checkpoints, TSA is using high-tech 3D computed tomography scanners. These things are exactly like the CT scanners you find in hospitals. They do not just take a flat picture of your bag, they generate a highly detailed 3-dimensional model of your stuff and rotate it 360 degrees. That is good news if you hate unpacking your carry-on in the security line. At some CT lanes, travelers may be allowed to leave laptops, travel-sized liquids, food, and electronics inside the bag. But there's a catch. These scanners give officers a much more detailed 3D look at what's inside your bag, which makes forgotten electronics, batteries, and unusual dense items harder to miss. If you leave a power bank or loose lithium battery in your checked luggage, your bag may get flagged, pulled aside, or opened for inspection. Best case, the item is removed and you get a little inspection notice. Worst case, you land ready for vacation while your suitcase is still sitting in a back room waiting for someone to clear it. So don't overthink it. Before you check a bag, do one fast scan at home. Chargers, battery packs, earbuds, electric razors, travel gadgets. If it holds a charge or has a power button, keep it with you. Put all of it in one small tech pouch inside your personal item. That way, you know exactly where it is, and you're following the safer rule: batteries and rechargeable devices stay with you in the cabin. But security isn't the only place travelers get surprised. Sometimes the problem starts much earlier, on the booking page. Codeshare flights can actually be great. They let you book one itinerary across partner airlines, connect through more cities, earn miles, and sometimes get a cleaner route than one airline could offer by itself. On paper, it feels convenient. The problem is that your ticket can have two faces. One airline sells you the flight, another airline actually flies the plane. And those two systems do not always agree about your seat. Imagine this scenario. You log on to the American Airlines app, find a great deal for a summer flight to Europe, select your seats for free, and pay for the ticket. You think you're completely set. But when you get to the airport, you realize the flight is actually operated by British Airways, which is a partner airline through a process called a Codeshare agreement. You walk up to the gate, look at your boarding pass, and realize the seat you thought you picked never actually carried over. Suddenly, the operating airline tells you that you have to pay an extra $80 just to sit next to your spouse. That is the trap. It is especially common on international trips, where you book through one airline but fly on a partner airline across the ocean. The logo at the top of your booking page may not be the company controlling your seat at all. So here's the move. Before you pay, look for the words "operated by." That is the airline that matters. After you book, open your confirmation email and hunt for a tiny 6-digit alphanumeric string called the record locator or confirmation code. There is usually a separate code for the airline you bought the ticket from, and a totally different code for the partner airline actually flying the airplane. Copy that second code, download the app of the airline operating the flight, and log in directly there. Pull up your trip, confirm your seat, screenshot the receipt if you paid. Do not wait until the airport to discover your booking has two personalities. A codeshare can be helpful, but only if you know who is really in charge of the plane. Because in air travel, the logo that sells you the ticket is not always the company that controls your day. But hey, at least a seat fee will not stop you from boarding. This next rule, however, absolutely will. We have been hearing about the federal Real ID mandate for what feels like a century, but the government has finally stopped pushing the deadline back. If you are 18 or older and flying within the United States, your ID needs to be accepted by TSA. For most travelers, that means a Real ID compliant driver's license with a little star, a valid passport, or another TS accepted form of identification. Starting February 2026, if you show up without that little star and without another accepted ID, you may be looking at a $45 emergency verification fee through TSA Confirm ID. And the fee is only half the pain. The real problem is time. The biometric screening and background matching can take up to 30 minutes of manual processing. If you are already running late for a flight, that 30-minute penalty will cause you to miss your plane. Do yourself a massive favor tonight. Open your wallet, look at your license, and check for that little star. If it is there, great. If it is not, bring your passport. Yes, even if you are only flying domestically. Chicago, Miami, Vegas, Honolulu, anywhere. And check the people traveling with you, your spouse, your college kid. Do not turn one missing symbol into a checkpoint meltdown. Bring the right ID, get through security, and save your panic for something more traditional, like wondering why a turkey sandwich costs $18. Now, after 4 rules that can make the airport feel stricter than ever, here is the one rule that finally gives travelers some leverage. Finally, some good news. A new DOT rule taking effect in 2026 requires covered airlines to create a one-page passenger rights summary and post it prominently on their websites. No more digging through 50 pages of legal terms while your flight gets delayed and your phone battery dies at 12%. This page is supposed to explain in one place what passengers may be owed when things go wrong: delays, cancellations, diversions, baggage problems, denied boarding, and forced removals. That matters because when your flight is delayed for 5 hours, you do not need a paragraph about operational irregularities. You need to know if you can ask for food, a hotel, rebooking, a refund, or ground transportation. Even if airlines post it, you probably won't be thinking clearly when your flight is falling apart, so find it before you travel. Search your airline's name plus passenger rights summary. Bookmark it before your trip and screenshot it. And while you're at it, bookmark the DOT Airline Customer Service dashboard. That page compares what major airlines have promised to provide during controllable delays and cancellations. That word matters. Controllable. Weather? Usually not controllable. Air traffic control? Usually not the airline's fault. But maintenance problems, crew scheduling issues, aircraft cleaning delays, baggage loading problems, or operational breakdowns? Now you may have a stronger case. So if your flight gets delayed for hours and the airline says it is a maintenance issue, do not just sit there hungry and defeated. Pull up the dashboard, walk to the counter calmly. Say, your customer service commitment shows meal vouchers for this kind of controllable delay. Can you issue that now? Knowing the exact commitment does not guarantee a miracle, but it changes the conversation. You are no longer just complaining. You are asking for the policy the airline already published. So, before your 2026 summer trip, remember this. The travel landscape is getting more complicated every year, but if you keep your electronics in your carry-on, double-check your domestic ID, and keep that dashboard bookmarked, you are going to fly right past the chaos this summer. Which of these rules would have caught you off guard? Drop your worst airport horror story in the comments below so we can all learn what to avoid. If this saved you from one airport fee, one missed flight, or one very public meltdown at security, hit the like button. Share it with someone flying this summer, especially the friend who treats boarding times like casual suggestions. Subscribe for more travel tips that help you fly smarter, spend less, and avoid becoming the next airport horror story. Safe travels, and check that little star before you pack the sunscreen.